we start, what's your name again?
Julian.
Julian and Matt, right?
Matt.
Okay, where Matt Damon hides?
That's me.
That's him. I think my Instagram is just Matt Snails.
It was a Imagine Dragons song. Like, it was Imagine Dragons reference back when I was younger, and I loved that band back then. It's where my demons hide. Kind of sounds like it's where Matt Damon hides.
Fucking metronome as well.
We gotta speak in BPM.
We gotta speak in BPM.
You're rushing.
You're rushing.
Are you rushing or dragging?
I'm glad this isn't a podcast with J.K. Simmons.
I want to be on a podcast with J.K. Simmons.
Not J.K. Simmons specifically, but like
His character from
Whiplash. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're rushing. You're dragging.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Street Couch Podcast. Today it's a special podcast. We have the guys in Midnight Spies.
Yes, sir.
Y'all want to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Julian. I'm the guitarist, producer, lyricist, main songwriter in Midnight Spies.
I'm Matthew Newton, the bassist, vocalist, frontman. That's it.
Nice.
And yes, man.
And the yes man.
Yeah.
The kind of like I'm the studio producer, like the like movie producer to your like actual music producer.
You're the guy who's like,
don't do that.
don't do that.
But do that.
You could do that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No. So
All right,
that's
cool,
us. We're
cool.
Midnight Spies.
Cool, man. Yeah, it's a special episode because it's the first time using like a brand new setup, kind of. I got like the whole background all like sorted out. Because for a while, my room was kind of a mess. So like,
That's all right.
so right now I put up posters. I put up this Spider-Man thing right here.
I feel honored.
And I've never had a band in here, actually. I've only had like one guest at a time.
One guest.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
so yeah, I'm pretty excited to have you guys on because I'm in the band also, and it's also just two guys. It's just me and my writing partner.
Yeah, I always think of it like a White Stripes or 21 Pilots or
Yes,
like a Depeche
yes.
Mode or like
Black
that sort of
Keys.
thing where it's like where there's the two people and they're either the main songwriters or like the main members, and then like we do have our full band.
Okay.
Yeah.
With
They're like the main guys.
whether I'm mostly the one writing like everything and producing everything,
Okay.
but when we do it live, we have our drummer Josh and our other guitarist David, and they're
Gotcha.
excellent. They're also just as talented players. We're all actually in a cover band together called
Nice.
Breakfast for Breakfast,
Nice.
and we just do all around rock covers, just fun stuff like that. But
Cool, man.
but they were like, do you want them to play for it? They asked if like
Do you want us to play for you?
yeah. So
And of course we want them
Of course,
to.
yeah,
'Cause
no.
when you already have chemistry.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's huge.
It's
man.
so
Exactly.
much easier to play live.
and then that's
There's also we have another member we're trying to get on.
yes.
So a lot of our music has like synth focused,
Okay.
like parts.
Okay.
And we've got a friend who's a pianist, but is also a nurse.
Nice.
And scheduling wise, it can be difficult to get shows with somebody that's like working overnight all the time.
I know a couple of bands that have like people in the medical field like that. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It was like the weird profession you have, and then I'm also in a band. Like Jack White was a carpenter, or not a carpenter. I'm sorry.
Just
He,
like
no,
Jesus.
no, he wasn't a carpenter.
Jack White is Jesus.
He was who's the people who works on furniture?
An upholsterer?
A upholster.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Oh.
Carpenter. I thought Jesus was an upholster. Oh yeah, but that's like you have your weird career. I'm also in a band.
Yeah, like I also heard the guy from KG Elephant was a plumber. I
Was
think.
he?
I
Oh,
think
that's
so,
like stuff
something
like that. Like
That's funny.
I mean, I'm an electrical engineer in my downtimes, and then I'm also in a band. So yeah, I mean, it's whatever gets the money to get the music going.
Honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
I do pool maintenance on the side, so
Oh,
well,
really?
like,
I
it's
just
like
work
my
at
main job
Trader
actually.
Joe's.
Yeah. Do you? What's it?
I just work at Trader Joe's.
I mean, that works too.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's whatever needs to get done. But yeah, that's our thing.
Cool, man. We're gonna see something because I interrupted you earlier. I tend to do that. I'm sorry.
I did not notice. It probably wasn't very important.
It's also we're three of us in a room.
Yeah.
Talking. No, you're the one who said it. You don't normally have like more than one person in here at the same time. So
Yeah.
one-way conversation, and then me and Matt are like a homogenous blob.
We kind of are, yeah.
We finish each other's.
So anyway,
So when did Midnight Spies form? When what was the genesis of this?
It's funny you say Genesis.
No, that's a song title.
Yeah,
That's on
cool,
that's
cool.
on that's on the album.
Check it out.
It's on the album. No, we started me and Matt have been working on music since 2019 together.
Yeah.
But I had been practicing songwriting from like 2018 onward.
Okay.
I've been playing guitar for longer than all that together. So I've been like practicing guitar since like 2016.
Gotcha.
And then during the pandemic was when I really started to push like writing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was before that where I was like, I took Matt into Whataburger parking lot. I'm like, Matt, it's time to get serious. Let's start a band. Let's start writing music. And around then, the first demos of Midnight Spies were starting. Honestly, like, it's funny. 2 demos that made it onto the EP were the first 2 songs that I wrote. One of the first 2 songs that I wrote. And then everything up to, like, 2021, maybe a little bit before that, was trash. So, like...
Except for, like, 2...
Except for, like...
And, like, another thing that we're not going to use for anything.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Is that at first we had...
standout songs.
Yeah, there were a few things that we had done beforehand that we, like... They didn't trash. It was like, we just couldn't figure them out. But... It took a minute to get my songwriting going, and once I did, an album started to form.
Okay.
And that album is it's finished, essentially. The songwriting, the production, and all that stuff is finished.
Yeah.
Or like the ideas of it are finished. But
There's still some recording.
There's lyrics, there's some stuff that we haven't gotten done, and then later on I was like, well, if we're gonna start really once we got our cover band together,
Okay.
and once we figured out we wanted to start playing Midnight Spy shows, we're like, we need music out.
Yeah,
But
for
we don't
sure.
want to release the album before that. So it was like, well, EP would be the next best thing, or a single or something like that.
Yeah.
So we did release our EP in this house it was in March 1st, I want to say.
It was March 1st.
March 1st. It's been
been
about
a
a month. It's been a month since it's been out.
man.
But
It's a weird thought.
it really
It's just hitting me that it's like on the internet.
It's
a weird feeling.
it is one
Check
of
it
our
out,
first,
guys.
Yeah, it's one of our first things that we've actually done where it's like out in public. One of my first like any art project or anything like that I've done where it's like, here's
My
this is for
creation.
You. This is for you. This is But we did the EP, and now the next step, honestly, is just I'd say we're writing a single. I'm writing a single in between because I do want to have more songs to play live. The one that I'm writing right now is kind of geared towards the band.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd like to have I'm kind of writing it with the band in mind. I'm like, okay, 5 parts. We're gonna have essentially write it like that, make sure it sounds good, and then I produce it.
You also
Okay.
you kind of wrote it with the sensibilities of the band members a little more too.
Right, and so that's the other thing is that I
Kind of like catering to their playing styles, or
yeah,
okay, okay.
or something, something like that. Because like David is, it's weird that David, our other guitarist, he and I are both kind of lead guitarists in a sense.
Yeah.
His sensibilities lie in a lot more metal and prog, and then Josh is like a punk drummer.
I
Like
see.
he loves like pop punk, reggae, ska. So his drumming style is very unique for.
Okay.
Between all of us, our styles are extremely unique.
Yeah.
So, and then when it
We
came
also have a classical pianist, or like member that we're trying to get on.
Yes. Once
That's really good,
once
keeping
we
it
get it in.
diverse like that.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but now I'm like, oh, well, we're writing a song. I want to write a song where we're gonna play it live. Like that's kind of what it's specifically meant to be. Like what I'm writing it for. And I'm like, okay, I realize I'm writing with their sensibilities in mind.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
like, we're doing that.
Knowing your members well enough to be able to do that is also
It's a
really
skill.
Good, it is a skill.
It
Yeah.
really is the fact that it's the chemistry we've had
Yeah.
since we started playing, and we finally gotten to a point where I think we're comfortable. We already played our first show for both bands.
Nice.
The house show.
It was a house party that we wanted to do for kind of just our big group of friends. I was like, well, we want to do the cover show because this was January 31st. It was around the time. It was a moving out party for him.
Okay.
He was moving out with me. It was
Yeah, because I also lived with those band members, and that's how they got into the band in the first
I
place.
see.
Yeah.
I see.
So it was a moving out party for him. It was a moving in party for some of our other friends, and then it was just an all around like let's all get together. It's been a while since we've had a big party sort of thing.
That's
and
badass, dude.
let's play the show. And but it was like, well, we want Midnight Spies to open for the cover band. Why? Well, because like
It was less bombastic.
yeah, it was a lot. It was
You're going from 80s new wave to covers of like
Killing,
Rage Against the Machine and like My
Aces
Chemical Romance.
High.
And,
I see.
yeah.
So we were really like pushing that, like we want the cover band to play first, but this is the almost the
like a test. Yeah.
for Midnight Spies. Can we do it? And we've been practicing them briefly for a little bit, and now we've been refining that set, making it a little better, learning the songs, whatnot, and now we're like, okay, we have a decent set.
That's awesome, man.
Like a 5-song set, and our first public show is going to be at Break the Tension on April 27th. Yeah. Be there, be square. Honestly, we're very excited.
Yeah,
We're nervous, but we're excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys.
Thank you.
Also, we do need to bring up that night, the house show did end with me falling off of a tree and almost breaking my back.
Dude, what the fuck?
There was a lot of alcohol consumed that night and a lot of ska music getting played in the backyard, and that's enough for me to go crazy.
See, the weird thing is I wasn't there. I was like,
You left.
I left. I was exhausted from my job, and we were the next or the day before we had moved out already.
Okay.
So like I'm just like, oh my goodness, I'm exhausted. I'm gonna go home early, whatever. And then next day I come home and then Matt's like he's like, what's wrong? He's like, I think my back is broken. I'm like, come on, man, what happened? I leave for 1 second and this guy has his back broken. Oh boy. Oh, I see what happened here. Headphones fell out. Yes. Technical difficulties. We'll cut this out. I say that like I'm not editing it.
The power's getting to his head. You gotta stop.
Back when we used to do the podcast, I'd be like, yeah, let me just snip that out.
That's my catchphrase when I do the podcast. Also, like I'll be, I'll just
cut that out. You don't need it. Yeah. But anyway,
that's hilarious though.
Yeah.
Did you ever recover like from that?
I'm good. Like I'm very glad that Matthew Newton's workout routine. Calisthenics. I don't know. I do a lot of stuff for my back, so like I'm fine now.
Okay.
But it could have been scary.
Dude.
The branch on the tree broke off with me. Jeez. And they keep that branch next to the tree as like a reminder.
So that's what that is. Wait a minute. I've seen it. I thought it was just like
that's the one that I took down with me.
Y'all should hang it like in the house somewhere. Like,
put it in the house.
It's really big.
We're always putting we put it in front of the drum set or something. Like we're always putting like something funny in the drum set. Like here's a Easter egg. If you look at our drum sets on like I think our like latest reel or something on Instagram, you might see a taped cover or taped DVD of Avatar.
Yeah, there should be 2 of them.
Well, we don't have the second drum kit.
Oh yeah, there's not.
But there would have been two like DVD boxes of Avatar, the blue one, the Blue Man Group one, and then
because Josh and his girlfriend kept sneaking those copies into my room. It became a joke in the house to just sneak it into the other person's like room or their bed. And I came home one day and they had like built a shrine on my bed with that DVD case just in the center.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
We got some weird shit going on with our band members.
Yeah, we're very close. We're all really good.
We like to have fun here.
No, we love that. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's the whole point of what was that with our EP called In This House. It was like about friends. Mm-hmm. So like with those years where we all started like pushing the band and we're like getting to know each other and like we became really good friends. And the EP kind of became about like after I like started writing them, like I realized that it's about like being around the people you love and being around like home. Specifically In This House was a joke between our friend group for the movie, I think Skinamarink. I want to say you commented on it. Do you know about it? Yeah. You commented on our Instagram post. I'm like, you're the first one to get it.
It's
like,
because I heard y'all's interview on Inside the North Side.
Oh, that too. Yeah. And it's a trailer that had
the voice going
in this house, in this house, and it's a fucking creepy trailer. But we were like, we would go around and just like in the dark, in this house.
It honestly, it became an inside joke because all of our friends love that movie except for one who fucking hates it. So it became a talking point a lot in conversation because of that too. And just that phrase kind of stuck with you.
It's one of those things where I'll pull, like I said, I'll pull like song names out of like a hat. Like I don't,
Okay.
not out of a hat.
You just like out of your mind or whatever.
Yeah, like I'd rather have the interesting song title than like say like for It Is Happening Again, I would like, be called like City or something, or like The City, or I don't know, like something that specifically references the lyrics.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the creative song title, and I'd rather like not like reflect what's in the lyrics.
Yeah.
Rather almost like an art piece doesn't have like the name of the art in the art.
Yeah.
Like Nighthawks doesn't have the word Nighthawks in it. It's just a piece, and I'm like, okay, this is the piece.
But Nighthawks does describe the people that you see in the painting.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing. It still describes the song.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
So that was my whole thing, and then I'm like, oh, let's get weird with it. Let's go fucking full Fall Out Boy and name our song titles all long or like half and half, and like, or weird.
Champagne for my real friends, real champagne for me.
Or what was it? My
a cool
lawyer,
name.
our lawyers made us change the name of the song for blah blah blah. I don't remember the title specifically, or but that was the idea between.
You'll pull references from things that actually don't directly relate to the song. So It Is Happening Again. There's a scene in Twin Peaks, the show Twin Peaks, where it's very surreal, but there's a character that just says "It is happening again," and I guess the phrase just kind of stuck with you, and the meaning for the song is completely different to what it means in the show. But it's just like kind of an iconic phrase, and you can use that as inspiration.
Yeah, it was like I said. It's like the title sounds good. I like the way the title, like the Michael Jackson thing. He sang it because it sounded good,
Yeah.
not because it made sense. It's like I always reference. What is it? What's the one song that I always reference? "Man in the Mirror," like the "When Ya See," like what was it? Ya See? What was he saying there? But it sounds good because Michael Jackson's singing it. Like,
but the kids in the street without enough to eat. Yeah.
exactly. He's like scatting, and like, but it sounds good, and your ears like immediately like hooked to that. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's the
It's
whole
all
thing
like
about
psychology.
it. Yeah, it's psychology. It's what do you call it?
It's having phonetics.
Phonetics. Right.
Yeah.
Right. That was you beat me to it. But,
It's like stuff that sounds good, kind of like that.
Mhm, absolutely.
Making meaning out of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll pull the meaning out later, but most of the time I name it because I know that there's some connection. There's like some like loose connection. I'm like, okay, It Is Happening Again. Well, the song itself is about us going out and hanging out with our friends in like the city or whatever. And that's the place where we always, in Houston specifically, and It Is Happening Again. Well, it's shit. They're going out again. They're about to wreak havoc on the town again.
I
Like
see.
Every night, it is happening again.
yeah, that was the idea. Like, oh, it's repetitive, and the song kind of goes into like, well, what happens when you get tired of that? Well, like, okay, like that's how I derive the meaning.
And there's
all
like you can get multiple interpretations of that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's happening again, or it's happening again. It's completely like it's a.
It can be good or bad, kind
Yeah,
of.
exactly.
It's your
Interpretation.
yeah, it's your interpretation.
So earlier when you were talking about how it took you years to like make like good songs, I feel like that's very that's the way it should be, because I feel like people get discouraged because like they can't write a good song and they'll just quit. But like they don't realize that's part of the journey. Like you're supposed to write bad songs, and then adjust, and then learn from those songs, and then eventually make a good song.
And this goes for anything. This is not just like music. It's like whatever you do, like there's like a passion of yours. You're not gonna be good at it from like the start.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like I started guitar in 2016. I was using that. It was called a Chord Buddy to learn. I was like, it was a little like plastic thing. You saw it on like Shark Tank. You hook it to your guitar and it has the 4 basic chords on it.
I've probably seen it
You
in
just
memes.
push the button and it's like, yeah, you probably see. Yeah.
So much.
Yeah, that's how I started learning. And then you take off the plastic part and you try to do it with your actual fingers. Essentially, it's just like if you have easy mode, then you have like beginner before it. You know, in
Okay.
Guitar Hero where you like beginner mode instead of easy, you just hit any button and it plays the note. Same idea.
That's pretty cool though, cause it's kind of like training wheels in a way.
Absolutely.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Humble beginnings.
Humble beginnings. You learn as you have to mess up to learn. You can't be afraid to fail because I mean we're learning that with our band. We're learning that with writing songs. I'm still 8 years into my guitar playing, and I'm still learning how to like
For sure.
do things
Yeah.
and like fix things and like okay technique. And now I'm getting to the point where I'm like okay, I guess it's finally time to learn theory. But not that theory's a bad thing.
Look, okay, so he's saying this because I'm studied in music theory.
Okay.
Self-taught.
And I'm not.
And I will always say, as somebody that is studying music theory, you don't need music theory.
You don't need it. Yeah, I don't think you need it.
But
But it's also
It helps.
a good tool.
Yeah,
and
it helps
it's
a lot.
funny that like theory was used in a lot of my favorite bands.
You like new wave.
New wave, new wave
lot of
is
theory in new
is a
wave.
lot of like Rush and
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
and then the police
The Police was
and
the first
like
one
like
I think of.
Sting, and he's like, oh, Stuart Copeland, the drummer, is always like joking about like how like he just bangs shit like on the drums, like he's just like, I'm just banging shit. I don't know what they're talking about, these augmented fifth and these like sharp sevenths and all that shit. And he's like,
That's literally our drummer.
that's yeah, like
That's Josh. Josh should
Well,
say that verbatim.
it was like, well, like that's kind of me as well. But yeah, that's essentially, I think, how like I think like I'm more of a
Yeah.
producer. I'm a sound guy. I work on the sounds and the ambience and all that stuff. And another artist that I've been meaning to kind of like shout out that I haven't even done so like recently is David Wise. Like I realized that I haven't talked about video game music too much. Like whenever I talk about my inspirations, because it's always Rush and the Police and Talking Heads and all that stuff. But David Wise,
Who is that?
he's he's a video game composer from he did Donkey Kong Country,
Okay.
Donkey Country 2. I think he did. I don't remember. Those are the main two games I take the hugest inspiration from.
Really, for those,
Huh?
it's just
Oh,
the
it's
monitor.
just the monitor. Yeah.
Okay.
It just went to sleep. But I only know him for those. But those OSTs are actually like kind of groundbreaking lo-fi like
I see.
albums. And you draw a lot from that. Production wise, you actually draw a lot from that.
Honestly, like I never even thought about the fact that I know I've been shouting out some of these bands that I know I love, but then I completely forgot that honestly he's probably my biggest inspiration in terms of like the production stuff
Okay.
and the musical stuff. Because then the second one's like the 1975 production wise, and I wouldn't say songwriting wise. I'm not like
not really.
they're my favorite band. But they're not my main inspiration. Like it's weird to say. I feel like for me because like most of the time you're like, dude, your favorite band.
No, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
It's like I didn't want to copy them.
Yeah.
I was like it's
It's like an easy thing to do.
it's
you know
too
what I mean?
easy. I'm like, well then the next place you look are their inspirations, and then their inspirations I just happen to love something. So at the end of the day, I'm influenced by those bands that they were influenced by, not necessarily the 1975. Now, aesthetically and all that stuff, I love, the art wise, making up the aesthetic.
Yeah, they're like visually, you're a lot more inspired by them visually.
Yeah, but I'm not an art. Like I don't consider myself a graphic designer. I just did it because I had to. Like I'm doing everything in the band because I just had to.
I just realized I'm also your graphic design yes man.
Oh yeah,
Because I do like the final drafts on a lot of your stuff that you do.
Well, I mean, you're like that's the part where I'm like I'm less confident in
Yeah.
because I know that I literally just don't do it. Like I'm like this is new. This is all stuff that I had to do.
I feel that.
So like that, and then it's like also with like the latest EP, like the mixing and mastering. I'm like I just did it because I had to. Like I wasn't like I know what I'm doing when it comes to the production and stuff.
sounds
Yeah, look at this high pass, the side chaining. No, I was like, I did it because I didn't want to. Well, I don't want to pay money at the time.
You don't want to pay a mixer.
Yeah.
Not if I can do it for myself for where we are now. Going forward, I do want to work with a mixer and a mastering engineer because like I want our songs to sound bigger,
Professional. also, yeah.
bigger. I'll say at least the mix on our album's pretty decent. EP is pretty decent. Just coming like that's how I feel about it, but I want to get better at it. Or I want to get better on my own time, and then I want someone else to be like, okay, here's how we fix it, or this is what we're working with, and blah blah blah, and all that stuff.
Well, like what's cool about you doing it on your own at first is like you kind of learn like what goes into making the song. So whenever you do work with the mixer or producer, you can like kind of like work with them. You can hear what they did and like ask them, oh, like what if you turn this down or turn this up, and you know what you're talking about, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like any field that you're trying to make a profession out of, if you're learned in like at least like basic levels or something, it makes it so much better. Because if you can actually communicate with the person you're hiring, stuff goes by so much quicker.
Yeah.
So
there's no like there's no misinterpretations or miscommunications or anything like that.
Yeah. It's done a lot for me. I think to learn all that stuff at least a little bit. Because you're right with the communication thing, but also just you get a better sense for your art when you know like what ideas need to be implemented, and you just need to figure out either how to execute them or tell someone else to execute them. Like I said, production, I know like the back of my hand. I know how I like to produce and all that, but like someone's like mixing this thing needs to go this. It's also hard to trust someone.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard to trust someone you're a mix, but that's what you need to find. It's not just finding a mixer. It's finding someone who understands.
Yeah. And
what needs to get done.
Someone that can add to the sound that you're looking for.
100%. Because sometimes they'll even bring up ideas, and like you're like, oh, hello.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You're effectively handing someone your baby and asking them to raise them for you, and like that's scary.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say at least like daycare.
You're
like,
asking them to dress them for you.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's a.
Please make my baby sound good.
That's a pretty good analogy, though.
That EP is my baby in a sense. So. No.
It's our baby.
It's our. Sorry, I forgot. We're gonna get divorced, and I'm gonna be like, it's mine. It's mine, Matt.
So, like, if you don't mind me asking, which program did you use?
FL Studio.
Oh, nice.
FL Studio. Recorded using, I think, sometimes using Edison, and then, of course, I mean, you sure start. All you know is Audacity. So you just start with using Audacity.
Audacity is perfectly fine.
It's just recording the audio, and then we have an interface, and then.
There's some pretty good like stuff, like effects and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I use it for noise reduction for the podcast.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, that's good. And then also for me, it's FL Studio, Audacity, and then like, I'll use the plugins in FL Studio quite a bit. Like that's mostly what I use for like. That for the album, that's what I use.
Okay.
Now that I'm getting into more production, I'm learning different programs and I'm learning different plugins and all this stuff. Learning about that they even exist, and I'm like, what do I need to do to at least get the idea across now? So,
okay.
But yeah, and also I have friends now. Now that's the other thing is that now that we're in a band, and now that I'm going to I've always been going to local shows like for a while now, and then meeting new people, but now that I'm like meeting other musicians who also do the same thing that we do, I'm like, okay, what's your advice? Like, and I was like, okay, they teach me things, and I have coworkers who like also work in audio. I'm like, okay, I'm learning things about what I need to use or what programs like I would have told you. I don't know if this might show on the actual EP, but like I didn't know what tape emulation was before like 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, but it's like something as technical as that, tape emulation or tape or what tape does or technical doesn't matter. What it is that like I wouldn't have known all this stuff if I hadn't been like finally like communicating and talking to other bands, and I made a lot of friends.
Yeah, that's very
just
true.
Just going to shows. Like I always shout out Mike from Shop 29.
Ooh, Michael?
Michael. Yeah, because we met. We have a funny where we both.
Weird story.
Yes.
I met Mike through meeting Mike's roommate, when I was working at the Alamo Draft House for a while. Yes. And then I went over to not Mike, but Mike's roommate, Mike. I went to his like birthday party at his house, and then I met Mike. And I also met Ike, who plays with Mike in Shop 29, the bassist.
Mike and Ike?
Mike and Ike, yeah. But it's weird that connection kind of brought us into a lot of this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was like,
that's how it happens.
I walk in, and we were talking about music, and he's like, let me show you something. And he showed me some of the old Shop 29 demos, the ones that they're playing now, and like that they're good, like they're working on the singles of. And I'm like, shit, this is really good. Like, and I was like, at first I was like, can I be your producer? And he's like, I didn't realize that he had the full idea in his head already. I'm like, okay, but like once they started going, I was like, oh, this is gonna be something. Yeah, this is gonna be special.
They know what they're doing for sure.
They do. Oh, yeah. I think but then through that, like I start going to shows. I think I go to the end show. And I learn about Andyland, and I learn about the Kiddos, and Uncle Tino, and Orion 224, and all these artists, Houston artists specifically. And I start like delving into the fact that like I didn't know Houston had a pop scene. I didn't know Houston had like they have everything, but like I always thought that their like
our main music export would be hip hop
and country. Like I always thought that would be the main two things. Just being like Houston, like that's what That's what we're known for.
Mm-hmm.
So me finding out that there's a small community of people who do make music like us, I felt like relieved a little. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's everything in Houston. Like I've seen, like for example, the Kiddos. They're kind of like more like in the pop realm.
Yeah, they're
like
the
boy band
the
and stuff.
world's greatest boy band.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
I forgot what they call themselves, but
Indie boy. I don't know. Something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, it's unique. I love it. I love those guys.
But yeah, there's also like this other artist I just found out about called Hex Partner.
I just learned about them too.
It's
yeah.
just like a synth thing. And
Yeah.
It's really cool. A violin and shit.
Yeah, no. Maybe I did see them. No, I'm thinking of was it Uncle Tino who had the violinist in there? Yes, there was when he played live at the end, he had his violinist.
Nice.
Shit
nice.
was cool.
Yeah.
Shit was insane. But
There's also another band that does that called Bone Creature. They have a
Bone Creature,
violinist.
yes.
And they also have like acoustic, like those like Spanish guitars.
yes,
That's-
yeah,
yeah, it's so fucking
it's
awesome,
really
dude.
fucking cool.
Wow, that's actually really cool.
Some of my favorite Houston artists right now, I think it's Los Calaveras.
Oh, that sounds very familiar.
No Cucks.
The song No Cucks, you're
fucking
obsessed with
goes
that song.
hard, man. I love that song so much. That Telebastards
Oh,
blew
they're
me
really good.
away with their show.
Were y'all at the White Oak show?
I was at the White.
Yeah,
I was at the
yeah.
White Oak show. That's the week he broke his back.
Yeah.
So he wasn't there, but I was at the White Oak show. That was my first introduction to Rosie and the Telebastards. Of course, I had seen the Kiddos already.
Telebastards are really good.
They are probably one of my favorite Houston bands right
Because
now.
like when I was seeing them, it felt like I was it felt like I was watching like a touring band. You know?
Yeah,
Like, they had that energy to them.
Well, I think they're very experienced, and I think it's because like one of my favorite genres outside of pop is like post rock, and post rock goes into a lot of that ambient stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like it's so, like Spoon Boy. It's like, okay, you're going hard, and then it slows down, and then like goes back into it. Like I was like, oh, shit, it's insane. And then they're playing it live too, and I'm like, this is amazing. Granted, I did have a couple art cars in me beforehand, but it was good. It was really good, and I'm glad I got to see them.
IPAs help. IPAs help with
for
that.
sure.
No, even if I didn't have an IPA, I'd be like, whoa. But I was like in the zone during that show. And then I'm always dancing with Ike up at the front. Shout out to Ike.
Ike is really cool.
Shout out to Ike. Number one as a bassist. Number two as a fucking audience member. That guy is amazing
crazy.
in the crowd.
It does not matter what is playing. He will get down first and get like he'll just start dancing up there in the front, and then everyone joins in. It's amazing.
You know what's hilarious? I just interviewed Shot 29 a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and when I was asking him questions, and when I first saw Ike, I thought he was like some party dude, crazy guy. But I talked to him, and he's like, oh, like I love playing D&D and Skyrim.
Yeah, no,
I love video games. I'm like, oh, okay, like he's like a homebody kind of.
Yeah, no. I met him at that party that we were like where we met Mike and all that. So it was like too, and like he was talking about that. I was like, yeah, Ike's really cool.
Because I'm also always in the pit at a show. I also play a D&D in video games. Maybe this is just how Houston bassists are.
Yeah. Well, you're both bassists. I forgot to say. Like, I don't know. Let's get together with the other bassist and all these other bands we're talking about.
I'll find the other two bassists from Houston.
Make a bass band, all four bass band.
Yeah.
Dude, why not? Why not?
Dude, percussion. Dude, that's the thing about bass, and I'll always like appreciate bass for this. It's literally has like every element of every other instrument.
You can like
in it.
slap it and
Okay, so
pop.
it's percussive because you could slap it and pop it. It's guitar because it's melodic, and it's also groove because it's bass. Like you have all three elements on a bass, and a guitar you can't because it has a low end too. On a guitar you can't really. You have the low E string, but you don't have like.
Sounds weak.
Your percussive, yeah, no, like acoustic is fine, but you don't really unless you're like John Mayer, you don't really have like with that with the guitar, but with the bass, you literally have the pop and slap, and you're like you can literally. Well, the other thing is maybe you do because Dave Grohl once said that he envisions the guitar as like a drum set,
Yeah,
and that's
I've
how
heard
he
something
plays
like that.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, like any instrument can be percussive.
Yeah,
For like rhythm, literally just comes from notes not being played.
Mm-hmm.
Like rhythm doesn't exist if it's always having like sound come out of it. If you have a guitar that just like plays a note and then stops and plays a note and then stops, you have a rhythm.
Yeah.
So anything can work as that. I like bass because I've always been. It's funny to say this as a frontman. I've always been a fan of the supporting role in a band.
Okay.
And the bassist is very much that. Like, you're not taking center stage, but you are very important.
I feel like the bassist carries the band in a way. I've heard that a lot.
The drummer carries the bassist, who carries the actual like melodic
It
instruments.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. The bassist is kind of like the link between the percussive rhythm and then the melodic like playing stuff.
I will always get down to someone who's like, it's a drummer and a bassist playing together, and they're locked in, like they're in the pocket. I will always get down to that. So like, and even in like a studio song, I'm like, that's the other thing I really like having, like in my music, I try to have, is that groove. It is baked into me. It's baked into anyone who likes to dance.
It's really. I was just about to say that it's really important because you want your audience to dance to your music, like at least bob their head or
or
tap
at least
their
say
foot,
like because they're like, and I'm always doing that.
You want to get the guy that has his arms crossed to like do something,
The other guy who's like a little too embarrassed, he's like, I want to be. I'm watching that. Yeah, that's kind of me at the shows. I won't lie.
You want the 6'7" dude that's really jacked that decides to go up to the front row and stand in front of the shortest girl there to just actually be like.
And he's only there because someone brought him.
Yeah.
And you're playing, and he's like, yeah. No, I am that person at the show. I won't lie, but only because like
You're not 6'7".
No, okay, don't call me out like that. They don't know I'm sitting. They don't know I'm not 6'7". Maybe they do because I'd be towering over both of you. But anyway, I am the one who's kind of like, I'm always listening. I know you may see me at a show and I'm like just kind of like standing there, but I'm always like
kind of like analyzing.
Yeah. I'm always like,
we need to be like fair to like 6'7" John over here. Like people interpret music in their own ways.
Yeah,
I'm the kind of person that we were actually talking about this on the car ride here. I do not like being at a show if I am not in general admission. Yeah. If I am not in the pit, not having a good time. I need to be
in the action,
feeling like to quote a Charlie XCX song, I want to feel the heat from all the bodies. There's like, when you're surrounded with a bunch of people listening to music, I feel a lot better for me.
It's a certain energy right there.
And like, I physically like getting my energy out in the song. Like, I'll always jump into a mosh pit. But there are people that just want to sit down and enjoy and like
just take it in,
Both are very valid. Both are equally valid to me.
I think for me, it's more of a, like, it's not that like, it depends the situation because I guess in any given case, if I have the chance to be up front, I will. But not every band I go see has the opportunity to do that. Mostly because like you don't want to pay thousands of dollars to go stand at the front. More, not that you don't want to, it's just you don't have $1,000. But like if you were to go see like Iron Maiden or something, if I were to somehow be able to get to the front for a reasonable price and have the chance to do it, hell yeah, I'd do it. But like 21 Pilots are coming, and I'm like, I know not that I won't be able to afford it, but I don't want to spend that much to go in the pits, and I'm fine with sitting up top and just watching it from there. Like, okay. I was like, Paramore, when we saw Paramore, funny story, he literally was in the pit.
I was the 43rd person in line for the Paramore show at Toyota Center 2023, I think. There were two people in front of me. Stage, a short guy that we let go up front because he was shorter, person in front of me, and then me.
Sweet. Rep the short guys like me.
And I had gotten there 24 hours before the show and camped out on the street. I like Paramore. They're actually one of the reasons that I play bass.
Nice.
And it was amazing, and it was extremely worth it. I would never go back. Like, I probably spent $400 after the $350 for the ticket.
Just for you?
$350 for the ticket, and then just like $50 on the like tent that I bought, and like other supplies and things like food. And then the day before or the day of,
I bought my ticket at work, literally like 4 hours before the concert, and the nosebleeds. Like
he shows up, and he tells me that he's here, and we both have a like 512 by 512 pixel image of each other from the opposite sides of the.
It looks like AI, like it's that like zoomed in, and I'm like, you could barely make me out, and I can barely make him out, but it's like because I'm at the top.
How'd y'all find each other?
I literally was
Just
like,
for searching.
yeah, we were just
Showing
searching, like
flashlights
showing
and shit.
flashlights because it was like I'm in the very farthest corner and he's at the bottom. We're like, well, that shows our personalities very well. I'm like, I'm willing to do this. Like, and he's
And I'm
willing.
willing to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So.
If y'all have pictures of this, can y'all send it so I can put it in the
Absolutely,
podcast?
yeah, no,
Yeah, of course.
I will. If, Matt, yeah, you'll have to find yours. I know where mine is.
I know where to get it.
I know where to find it. Yeah.
Mine's
Oh,
framed.
that's Yeah. Oh, that was such a good show too. They put on a
Nice.
show, but I'm
Okay.
fine with that. I was like, well, the band better put on a show.
They put on a fucking amazing show. They did so good.
It was good.
Hell yeah, I bet.
And Paramore's like, they're pop punk. They're very much pop punk, and pop punk carries a lot of negative stigma with it because there's a lot of pop punk artists that are just immature and like cringe.
Blink-182.
Blink-182.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
I love Blink. They wear their heart on their sleeve. I'm talking about the ones that are like not tongue in cheek.
Okay.
5 Seconds of Summer and like
All time low.
Oh God, Jesus. But I genuinely, they're one of the reasons that I play bass.
Okay.
Them like Rush.
Dude, Rush for sure, man.
Twerp. Tupperware Remix Party. I don't know if you've.
I've never
listened
heard
to
of them.
They are a
Like
It's like
city pop,
city
like
pop,
Japanese
synth funk.
Sounds like a party.
Synth funk, like there's one jazz fusion.
Synth funk jazz fusion. They're like one of those bands where their entire existence is like characters. All people in the band are like playing a persona, and their bassist, Commander Meouch, is his name. Got me in probably the main reason that I started playing bass.
I'd say the main reason.
So I was a pianist coming out of high school. I had been playing for 2.5 years, and I was still playing by the time we met.
Yes.
For about a year after that, I was like playing piano a lot, and I wrote one of the tracks that's going to be on the album, which is just a solo piano piece. After that, I kind of discovered how much I like bass, and I went into bass instead.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
And then that
I've
guy.
been playing bass for like a year and getting close to 2 years now.
It's probably we're getting close to 2 years.
Yeah.
Because you bought that. What was it? You bought the Jaguar.
After I turned 21. Like a
Yeah.
month after I turned 21.
When was that?
My birthday's coming up, so it was almost 2 years ago.
So about 2 years ago, because you bought that bass around that time, and I think I bought like a pedal or something of that same. We went to Guitar Center. I'm like, everyone gets something. David got an orange amp. I got a pedal, or maybe another amp myself, nobody bought a guitar. I don't know. I love guitars and all that shit. By the way, that's
I love guitars.
that's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite.
Just things
Well,
to do.
yeah, like besides, like I'm a guitar head. At the end of the day, kind of ashamed to say it because that also means I'm a pretentious asshole. But like, it's totally my thing. Like one of my passions, like
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
pedals and amps and sounds and guitars. I'm a Strat guy at the end of the day, and I will always be. I think for the rest of my life. But you with your bass, yeah, it's been 2 years already, and you're already that good. Like I'll just straight up say it. Like he's a fucking good bassist.
Music theory helps you learn instruments quicker.
Yes, I was that
For sure.
impressed with how quick he picked it up quick because he had been playing the piano.
Mm.
Starting with piano helps you learn every other instrument on the planet because piano is also one that is both percussion
That's true.
and lead
Yeah,
and like supporting instrument all at the same time. It's
Yeah.
probably one of the most flexible ones.
Yeah.
I'd say so. Because it's just straight notes. Like all the notes are in a row.
I think
Cool.
technically it's a percussion instrument because like it's like hitting strings and shit like that.
Isn't
It's classified in the percussion family.
Mhm.
It also has strings and
Yeah.
it's also a toned percussion. So that's why you
Yeah.
can do so much with it. I mean, like, you've listened to classical music, like, ever. There's just piano pieces, solo piano pieces. So there's a lot that's built off that.
Yeah. No, wasn't it? I almost said it would be like not a. Is it considered a string instrument though?
It can be, I think.
No, it is considered
it-
in the instrument families. It is classified as percussion.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
It does have strings in it.
Okay.
Like a harp is a string instrument, but a harp is pretty much just the strings of a piano without the hammers.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that's true. That makes a lot of sense.
So how did you two guys meet?
So
I'll let Matt tell this story.
we worked at a little like Italian family restaurant for a while, and
Or I was working there.
yeah, Julian was working there, and it was my first job ever. and I go into this Italian restaurant that I've been loving for a while. I love their food and everything, and I'm working for like probably a week or so, and then our coworker Will, who I had already got a little familiarized with. I wasn't talking to this weirdo yet. And he goes, "Hey, Matt," or I might have been going by Matthew still at the time. "Hey, Matthew, you like music, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I like music." And he's like, "You should meet Julian."
Y'all got hooked up.
we got hooked up, and
The first words.
something was it Kanye?
It was
It was
Fantano.
Anthony Fantano.
And
Needle
then
drop.
it was Kanye.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's so funny.
So it was pretty much you came up to me and you're like, "Do you like Anthony Fantano?"
This is why I hate this story, because I was so fucking like obsessed with that guy.
And neither of us really like him anymore.
No, well, I think it's because like I had just it was around the time in college when I had just like gotten into music, and I was like learning about all these artists and learning about everything that like has to do with music and whatnot. Like I was still getting a crash course, and I had barely learned about him, so he was my only source of like new music. Like no
Okay.
one was telling me about other artists. Like I wasn't looking up websites. I'd see a review for something and I'd be like, "Oh, good." And I listened to it. I'm like, I really don't know how to feel about it. What's Fantano's score?
Yeah.
Give it a solid 3.
Yeah, I give it a solid 3. Yes, fuck that album. Funny. That was like there. But then I realized. Then of course I grew out of that. I was just like, okay, form my own opinion. Start learning about music.
Form your own-
Well, that was the whole thing. Is I was just like, yeah, Fantano. I like that guy. I know.
I think a lot of us went through that Fantano phase.
Any yeah, I wouldn't say either phase or like just a phase of like someone else likes something so you like it.
He was like also like at his height of popularity when we were all in high school. So we are like
What? I was?
I think so.
I don't know.
Well, height of his popularity. You were probably a senior.
Oh, I thought you said me. I'm like,
Me
yeah,
too.
I
I
was
was
a
like-
popular kid. Like,
Oh no.
You talking about Fantano?
I meant Fantano. Yeah.
Yes,
no.
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Julian peaked in high school.
no, no.
Fantano, like, so we were. I feel like it happened to a lot of musicians that are in our age range, and I'm sure that even musicians not in our age range, like, there's probably just a phase that you go through when you're still learning to grow up, where you just let people form your opinions for you.
Yeah. Or you like idolize someone, you know, like you think they have all the answers or like they know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I was like
And
that.
unless that's Neil Peart, it's not true.
That's
Yeah,
not
no. But like, I'm glad that the way I grew up was kind of like. So I was raised on pop music through my mom, who would just throw in the radio on the way to school, and what I would hear was like what would eventually influence my production side, and then every once in a while, Dad was like, "This is the Police. Show me a few songs by them." Okay, cool. This is like Journey, and like I'm realizing that that's coming to bite me now, where I'm like, the songwriting sense is coming from like them. So like, or the guitar playing specifically.
I feel like a lot of stuff stays in your subconscious in a way.
Yeah.
And then it shows in your music.
It's
you don't even
somewhat-
realize it sometimes.
I forget what I was listening to, but it's just like there you start slowly realizing that you're just developing your dad's tastes, like as you grow older. I mean,
I think stuff staying in the subconscious, I can feel that directly with. So, like, the first album I ever owned was Ocean Eyes by Owl City. It's a decent record. It's not amazing or anything.
It's not funny, man.
It's not funny. Stop making fun of my childhood. And I still feel like parts of that come out. Like, honestly, in his like the way he wrote his electric drums, like digital drums, like that's kind of the way that my brain kind of processes rhythm. Because you listen to that demo that I was making for a while, and that's one of the things that was going through my head during that. And
What do you?
where'd you get that from? That's better than that.
just his drums are ADHD in like drum sense, and then that's just kind of how I write.
What do you
And I-
use to write your drums? Do you use like a
Just FL
keyboard? Or...
Studio. No, the drums are always just in my head. When I'm writing chords and like a chord progression, we have a piano set up next to the laptop that we both use for music, and I just use that. I just use theory. I'm like, okay, that chord sounds okay. How can I use theory to make this chord sound better, and then make the chord progression better?
Gotcha.
But that, and then also My Chemical Romance actually influences my vocal writing a lot.
Oh no, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And like I'd say, like Michael Jackson influences him a little bit too, or like
Me?
No,
My Chemical Romance.
Oh,
Gerard Way.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Gerard Way.
or like Coheed and Cambria, where it's like
It's very like strong vocalization. you know?
Yeah, I want to see.
Very
I
eccentric.
want to. I'd like to like. I love seeing that like pop up every once in a while when we're. Well, it's mostly a funny thing is like that's how he writes, and the fact that I write, like I realize that because he, like.
I write a lot less than you do.
But I write them. I'm for the EP and the album. I wrote most of the melodies for like the vocals. So I'm realizing like the way I write is a little bit different. It's more like rhythmic.
Yeah.
Like that's where I pull my things. And I'm always I'm kind of like I want my version of that song. Like I'll go look at a song I love and be like I want
see.
my version of
I
that.
see. Yeah.
And that's right at the moment where I'm still learning how to like get my own voice. Like that's where I pull from. Songwriting wise, once again I don't know theory, so I just pick chords and I pick keys too.
Yeah.
Keys affect his songwriting a lot more than mine. You have like almost synesthesia when it comes to keys.
Yeah.
Like I don't. I'm like that sounds easier to sing. That sounds harder to sing. That's kind of how I determine a key that I'm gonna write in. Like, oh, this melody works better in this range for me. But that's usually how it affects me.
And then I'm like, I know that this key will sound good next to this. Well, when I was writing the album, I'm like, okay, like F major next to like another F major, and then we go to like, was it? It was also F major. No, he's dropped it down to E major. I'm like, I don't know, something about and the way those like songs in the specific key make me feel. F major is one of my favorite keys for some reason.
I mean, like this right here is proof that you don't really need theory.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
But even though I know that song, I don't know theory, but I know that song's in F major. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like I can feel
You
it.
have perfect pitch with keys.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's all you need.
at least the major, because I write. That's how I write, and that's what I love. So I know what that sounds like in a major key or blah blah blah. So something that's a little more minor, you can throw me off and be like, I don't know what that is. Like just hearing it,
Or
but
like a Phrygian F.
I don't even
Whatever.
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
What'd you call me?
I like insulting people and then convincing them that I was just saying theory instead.
Phrygian? Is that even real?
It is real.
Okay, I was gonna say like
It's a
that's really like a fridge.
Only weird theory words that I know are like Mixolydian.
that's also it's the same thing as Phrygian.
Okay.
It's just like
Like one of
you know,
a
like
mode.
Do re mi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the modalities.
I still don't understand. I don't want to.
You don't have to worry about
I learned that in jazz band like a long time ago.
You were in
high
jazz
school. Yeah.
You were shit. I fucking wish our school had like a.
It was
jazz
cool, yeah, because like, we
band.
learned all these cool chords, like F sharp minor 9, something like that, like stuff like that.
Just
Nice.
that one's cool. Like, no, I'm like I'll write something and he's like, "That's a that," and I'm
yes,
like,
it is.
"Oh yeah, it is,"
Oh,
and I'm just
cool.
like, "Oh, it just sounds good."
It'll be like, oh shit, Julian, you did that. Like when you were accidentally writing like a key change in that one song regarding.
So one of the songs I have apparently, I don't know if he's lying to me. I'm joking, but the fact that I don't know that I changed from major to minor at like the
Opposite
end
way.
of or no,
You went from minor
to
for
major.
the last note in one of the phrases of the song, and you like chose like a perfect thing where you like change. You just go up like 1/2 step on the scale. You make that key the new key, and you make it major, and it sounds beautiful. And then Julian's like, "Yeah,
That was
sure."
I did that on purpose. Yeah, that totally.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that's something he could be lying to me. I wouldn't know. So, but no, that's how I write. He writes very differently.
So, from when you guys met to now, like when did y'all start playing music together?
Well, it was
Probably like honestly a few months after we first met. Like there was that one day where you and your cousin Christian were playing music in your garage, and I came out with my keyboard and fucked it up.
Right, you weren't even it was literally like we would just play 1975 and Two Door Cinema Club and shit like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
But like you were still playing keyboard at the
I was
time,
still playing keyboard at the time.
and I was like a little bit later on. You had started playing bass.
Well, you taught me my first song on bass.
It was Sex, or I tried to teach you. It was Sex by the 1975.
No, you did teach me my first song on bass.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God, my name is Jonas.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
Weezer?
yeah, Weezer. Yeah.
My name
There's
is
4 notes in that
Jonas.
entire song, and yeah, that was the first song that I learned. And I think you tried to teach me with a pick, and then I was like, "This feels disgusting," and then I went to the fingers instead.
Like that.
I am a decent bassist. I am so bad with a pick. I'm
Sure need a
terrible with a pick, and it's like
I'm not.
it's.
I don't care. I don't
You
care.
should. I feel like a lot of bassists are. There's like the pretentious bassists who are like, playing with a pick, it's disgusting. It's a skill. You should know how to do it because there's certain types of music, a lot of punk, a lot of ska, that sounds better with a picked
Also,
bass.
when you're recording bass, that's like with pick, it's more clear sometimes.
Yeah, it can be a lot clearer. So, yeah.
I realized that when we were recording. We were recording recently. I'm like, I was like, play with a pick instead. I might actually, but I figured it out. Don't worry about it.
Okay, cool. I got you. We'll deal with that whenever we're back in the studio.
Dodge the bullet.
It's fine. You're good.
But then after I picked up bass, I started just hyper fixating on it and learning a shit ton of songs, just like going like ham on it, really trying to push myself.
What was your favorite song that you learned?
At the start, definitely "Love Me" by the 1975.
Oh, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
I know how to play it too. We'll play it together on drums and guitar.
And that chorus has like a crazy octave jump at one point, and that taught me a lot right off the bat, just with finger flexibility. And then I just kept on moving to crazier and crazier stuff. I started learning how to slap.
Slap at the bass.
Yeah, slap at the bass.
What's the one song you play right now where you're like, oh, the Chainsaw Man.
The Chainsaw Man opening. I don't know if you know that.
I know the anime. I've never watched. I've seen like clips of it. I've just never like fully like dove into it.
The opening from that is a crazy song on bass, like ridiculous. Yeah,
I gotta check it out.
it's great. But yeah, like honestly, getting inspiration from weird places like video games and anime and nerdy shit. There's really good musicians in this
There really
field.
is. Like I think Naruto has some really good openings as well. Like there's a band called Sambo Master. I think they did like some of the music for Naruto. It fucking slaps, dude. It's like funky as shit.
Yeah, and man, Japanese, Japan has a really good, like they have a grasp on music.
Yeah,
we don't.
Rock is amazing.
That we don't have. I think like it's obviously unique to Japan. Like
a lot of it exists in the prog scene here.
That's true. You're right.
Just not in the mainstream rock scene, of which barely exists here in the first place.
Yeah.
Man, Prague. That's the one. I think at the end of the day, between all of us, at least me and David, Prague is kind of our connecting.
Our through line. Yeah.
Like Prague
And jazz.
and then between me, like and Josh and you, it's like punk and ska and.
All of our bandmates have a through line when it comes to music.
I see.
We're like a four-way Venn diagram.
Yeah.
Right in the middle is metal.
Yeah, that's okay. I was trying to find the one that all of us.
The common ground.
The common ground is like metal of some sort, and it took me a minute to get there too. I was like,
I was much more of a metalhead than you were at the start.
You were the last guy.
I still am.
Oh wait, what?
Were you the last one to get on the like? The
Yes, I
middle
was, because you were listening to like King Diamond before you met David.
King Diamond, System of a Down.
And System of a Down.
That was probably it.
I think the closest thing I ever got to that was like Rage, and they're like alternative metal.
Yeah.
They're not even
Metal.
like it's new metal. No, I wouldn't call it new metal.
It is new metal. New
New
metal. A lot of new metal is bad.
Maybe
but Rage is
because
definitely
they
metal.
rap in their music and that's
You're
what new
right.
metal does. So maybe
I'm
yeah.
just thinking of Limp
People just
Bizkit.
don't like, because when you think new metal, you think I did it all for the nookie, and like that's
It's just
not
one of those
really-
days.
Yeah, but
I think the new metal band that actually did do it very well, still to this day, is Korn.
Korn?
I think so. I think there's some truth in that. I always say it's Rage. Then, if that's the case, I
Yeah.
say it's Rage because they kind of. Matty Healy once said that like they started a genre and stopped it all at once. Like they were the height of it and then they were the decline of it, and
That's
that's
funny.
it. Like they didn't have to. Everyone else after that was like something different.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's
because
fair.
they have their distinct sound. I love that band though. I'm still
Sure, same here.
It's like it's funky. It's funky.
Yeah.
That's it.
We've been playing music together since then, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait. That was the question, right?
Yeah. Sorry, just trying to get the trolley back on.
Oh,
the tracks.
right. No, we'll go off on so many random tangents. I love
So
it.
from that point on, when did y'all start forming the band? Like when did y'all get the other guys to join y'all? And then when did y'all start recording music as Midnight Spies?
So a lot of things kicked off. So our other two live bandmates, David and Josh, were my roommates because I met them working at the Alamo Draft House. And Josh was trying to find a place to move out. David was trying to find a place to move out. And I was trying to find a place to move out. And we were like, hey, this can work. And we moved in together. David shows up with... He didn't have 13 guitars yet. I think he only
Whoa.
had 9.
Only 9.
David shows up with 9 guitars. Josh shows up with a drum set, and I show up with a piano and a bass, and we're like, Okay, hold up.
Okay, hold up. Yeah.
And then we start just what
None of
what
us.
was the genesis for breakfast for breakfast?
None of us had been playing together, and then of course you knew me, another guitarist, so it was almost perfect. None of us, and you hadn't had your bass at that time because you were playing piano and David was playing bass.
Oh yeah.
We of course every first band's song, Blitzkrieg Bop, was the first song that we started playing, and that was when we all moved in. No, you didn't.
I was using David's
You were up on the piano and singing.
for Blitzkrieg Bob.
Yes, I have the video. I still have the
don't
video.
remember that.
Because I know why. Because you couldn't hear it. Because we didn't have proper amps and mics and everything at the time. But we started playing together once we all moved in together, and that was the genesis of the cover band. We're like, let's get a list of songs and let's start like pulling it. And we had a huge list at first. Yeah. We whittled it down to 8.
Okay.
Or like, no. Yeah, we whittled it down to 8, and then we got our lead singer for the cover band because our friend JT was not in the band at the time.
Okay.
So and I was doing vocals and whatever instrument at the time, and it was just like, it was okay, but it wasn't really what we needed.
Yeah, and then once we got him, it was like a no-brainer. Like, we need to have him in the band as a vocalist, and so all of us got 2 picks each. So
I see.
Like, and then we created a 10-song set list, added 1 or 2 more, and then that was our set list for our first show.
Yeah,
and it was like Rage Against the Machine. It was Aces High. By Iron Maiden, Oingo Boingo. We did Elton John. Like we're going
bunch of rock. Rock was the central focus.
The Clash, the Misfits. We were doing everything. Nice. Like we were doing like, but that was the genesis of the band. And then at a certain point, keep in mind during all this time, I'm still writing the album, and I'm coming together with Matt to work to play it. And they had kind of been saying like, hey, if you ever need a live band, Josh and David like we'll play.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure. And then once we had started getting the band together and we realized that we wanted to do a show at the house, it was like, okay, maybe we can start to get Midnight Spies set together.
Yeah.
It wasn't obvious to me at the time that just because they had different influences didn't mean that they didn't want to play. I thought our stuff would be too boring for them.
I see.
I was like, to play, but it's not. It's a different.
There's also another thing we kind of learned from that, which is like, it's a lot more fun to make live versions of your music.
For sure.
Our live versions are very different. Not very different.
They're pretty different. They're a lot rockier.
Yeah.
Because we wrote them, you kind of wrote them around the members that you knew you were going to have on stage.
Yeah.
So it just became rockier. It became more upbeat. One of our songs, Dancing for No One, is probably getting taken at like 2.1 times tempo now.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, I was like, okay, like we were playing it, one of our album cuts, and it was like too slow, and like, it was kind of just like, we like playing it, but nothing's really happening. Or like, it was like, we weren't feeling it. And it wasn't until I think someone suggested bringing it up speed. It was you. Okay, credit to you.
Because I also fought the hardest to keep that song in our set list.
At the time, because for Break the Tension, we only have a certain amount of time to play, and I was like, we don't have time to play everything. So if we're gonna cut a song, that's it. And then then you brought the idea. Well, let's push it up speed. And once we did, we're like, November Rain by Guns N' Roses. So like we're like a rock ballad.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have to play it this slow, and it brought the song to life.
Okay.
100%. It was just like, okay, once we bring it up to speed, then it works. It's something as simple as that.
That's
like,
really cool because like by doing that, you're creating different experiences for your audience.
100%.
You have the listening experience for the EP, and like when they go to the show, it's a whole different
I
experience.
want it to be a different experience. I've always been like insistent that like this is different than our live stuff, because but I mean, there's, as long as it's in the same key and as long as it's in the same like,
if it's recognizable
as the song.
The goal is to Jack White it.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it, because Jack White will go and like play some of the White Stripes songs,
like crazy and shit.
Well, yeah, because he only had Meg in the band, and him at the time, but then now you're adding bass and you're adding keys, because there's 2 more members on stage, So it's just a blown out version of what the original song was. So it's still, you have the main core of the elements, and then you have the extra ones. And it just adds, and it's like, oh man, Jack White. We're talking about live shows.
Jack White is a genius, dude.
He's a genius. And then, did you see him when he came to Houston?
I didn't see him, but I saw like clips and pictures and stuff.
Like.
So you saw him.
Yeah.
Because my mother and my stepfather had tickets to Jack White, and then decided to get sick a day before the concert, or I think the day of the concert, actually. And then my mom is like, do you like Jack White? And I was like, no, but I know someone, or yes, I do. I'm not available to go to a show, but I know someone who can. Okay. And then you just end up going by yourself, and
I tried to grab, it was literally last minute. I was trying to grab, so I got free tickets to Jack White because of, thank you, Matt's mom.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you, Matt's mom. I need to pay you back someday for that. But like,
Mother's Day is coming up.
not my own mother. Like, Mom, sorry, I couldn't get you a gift. I had to pay Matt's mom for the tickets. But I got to go to the show, and do you know what he does at the shows, right? For his phone policy?
No.
Okay, Jack White does not allow phones at his show. You walk in, you get security, and then you take your phone out, and they put it in a little pouch that like clips together. It doesn't open. It's like magnetized or something. You have to come back to a certain area in the venue to unlock your phone, and you have to stay there while you're on it.
That's
to do
crazy.
whatever. So that's the thing, is that you walk in and no one else has their phones, and you're waiting. You're essentially forced to talk to someone. Either forced to talk to someone or forced to just sit there in silence.
Okay.
You don't want to do that, right? But you essentially you start to communicate with people. You start to talk, and like I say this like it's some crazy thing, but you don't realize
talk to other people.
You don't realize how much people are on their phones, like
Dude,
at like
yeah,
shows
yeah.
waiting. You're talking your small talk with the other group a little. Okay, on your phone. All right, talking a little bit something on your phone. But it's like it's weird how, I guess, normal this is now to me.
I guess what you're trying to say is it's kind of weird, like on how much we're missing out by being on our phones.
Yes,
You know?
and then so when the show starts, the house is electric. It is insane how like they were giving standing ovations by song 2. Like that's how crazy. Yeah, the
That's
second.
Blur, that's not
no.
Get out!
Get out! Fuck you! Ah. No, they were like losing it by the second song in the set, and like he feeds off that energy. He doesn't plan a set list. He just goes off the cuff.
That's really cool.
So he'll like feed off the energy. Like, they reacted this crazy to this certain song, so I'm gonna play more like it, and then it keeps. It's like a feedback loop. But unfortunately, our set, I guess. One of the songs that everyone liked or happened to cheer very loud to was one of the acoustic driven ones. Oh. So he started playing a lot of the folkier ones. And I'm like, ah. I know. His songwriting's good, but I was like, no, I want to hear Ball and Biscuit. I don't want to hear
crazy stuff.
Like, yeah, I want to hear some like crazy stuff.
Did he also play Raconteur songs?
Yeah, no. Okay. At Jack White shows, he'll play like his sets. His own songs, and then he'll also play everything from his discography. So Raconteurs, cool. White Stripes, The Dead Weather, like he'll play.
That's so cool.
I know, it was an amazing show. There's no doubt about it. I'm going next time. There's nothing can stop me. But yeah, that was a Jack White show it was unforgettable. He's one of my bigger inspirations too. I think in production.
Yeah,
this shit's just crazy.
Do you have a favorite show, Matt, you've ever been to?
Oh, that's a good question.
Paramore and Twerp.
Paramore is very high up there. Twerp is pretty decently high up there. Guar.
Yes.
They're a metal band that they spray fake blood into the audience. Yeah. It was my first mosh pit I was ever in. First mosh pit ever. The mosh pit is still the biggest mosh pit I've been in.
Wow.
It was at you know the old Warehouse Live?
Yeah.
Before it became Rooftop?
Yeah.
It was in the big room in there. And the entire audience was shifting from how
I don't normally.
I know what you mean.
I don't normally go in the pit, and I was getting dragged in.
Yeah.
Like
I've been there to see Dance Gavin dance.
Okay.
And everyone was like shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
And I swear, like at one point, like my feet, like they got off the ground because of like people like
You're like,
pushing
yeah,
me.
yeah. Well, I went to go see Circle Jerks and
Oh, that's like last
and
month,
Descendants,
right?
like like a few weeks ago or however long ago, and I was in the front. I was actually with Ulysses.
Yeah, he went there.
Yeah. And then apparently Los Calaveras was right next to us too, from the band from Houston, and I was getting like pushed around. I felt like a blob, like getting pushed around, and all these people and all this like sweaty, like loud people, and I'm like literally just having a time of my life. I'm just like I'm laughing like a fucking child, like getting pushed around, like oh this is fun. And I turn around, and all my friends are in the pit going around. That's how big the pit was there too.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
it was so much fun.
Yeah.
That was such a good show.
Paramour's very high up there. I think the 1975 show in Dallas was amazing.
The actual show, like the. I mean, the songs. I love the 1975. The songs are good, but like his performance, his stage performance, and all that stuff is genius.
It's like bordering on stage play. And
okay.
it's
Okay.
I love that. I love playing with the idea of a concert and doing
Yeah.
this sounds stupid, but doing more than just music.
No, that's not stupid
Yeah.
at all. Cause like that's the whole point of a concert, dude. Like you're putting on a show.
Yeah.
Not just the music. People can see you. They can see what you're doing. Why not add like costumes and like shit to the mix?
Like,
you know what
and
I mean?
he was like, it was like his whole thing was that he was it's like a thing on masculinity or something, or toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
That's the whole setup of the show, and that's kind of
Okay.
like what the theme of the album, recent album was. But this is the show where he decided to break the
Break the tension.
break the tension.
April
April
27th.
27th. No, he decided to just be like, fuck it, I don't care anymore, and he went on a long rant about, I think when he like.
They went to Malaysia.
Yeah, and then-
they got put in prison for a little bit because
He kissed Ross on stage.
yes.
Yeah,
They-
as bassist, he
Kissed Ross on stage, and then they got put in jail for a little bit.
Dude.
because that's very anti
Like
they're
homosexual.
very
and
homophobic,
shit.
yeah, or that's what their religion, or I don't,
And there
yeah.
was a lot of drama with it, and then what he did was he started out talking about it, and then he went, okay, wait, y'all aren't gonna focus on this. Let me do this. Snaps his fingers. Subway Surfers shows up on screen. A Family Guy funny moments thing shows up on screen. You know those TikTok things that are complete brain
Yeah.
I hate
So
that.
as a spoof on that shit, he had his whole rant that he was doing, the lyric, like what he was saying on screen, and then like 4 different TikTok things going on at the same time. And it's like some of my favorite like performance art commentary shit that I've ever seen. They have always had a beautiful way of staying with the times. 1975 has always stayed relevant.
Yeah, they're
They're not
insanely
stuck in
right.
1975.
No,
not stuck in
look, that yeah. Well, he did that at like every show, but this is the first time where he
was the first
actually
time he did it.
went to. No. This is the first time he actually ranted for longer than he was supposed to, because he wasn't. I think he was supposed to make some sort of speech, but this is the one where he actually went off the cuff.
Oh, okay.
This was not normal for every show, because it was trending, and it was like, yeah, he said some shit, guys, on the internet, like so they're like freaking out, I'm like, Maddie lost it, so, but, oh man, that was a good show. I do the what like favorite shows. What else did I go see that was like amazing besides Circle Jerks? Like last couple weeks was really good.
What was the one in Austin that had Anti-Flag and
Flogging Molly.
flogging? Oh my god, that's
Flogging
one of the best
Molly.
pits I've ever been in. Irish people that like Irish punk are fucking awesome in a pit.
Wow.
It's dancing, it's moshing. Was that the one with that? Oh, that wasn't the one with Skeletor in the pit. There was a furry in that one, and he was kind of gross, but everything else was cool.
Yeah, no, I have been to a lot of concerts, and I'd say probably my favorite is still gonna be like some of the smaller ones,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
Twerp, and there's this one band that I really love from I think Boston called The Night Game. They opened for John Mayer back in 2017, and I've been following them since. It's the guy from Boys Like Girls, the lead guy, that pop punk band.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
And I love that band to death. The Night Game is really good. They're like 80s new wave, so they're kind of like the stuff I make in our Midnight Spies. But
He complimented your hair.
he did compliment my hair at the time when I had like a mullet. If you can imagine, these sides were shaved and the top and back were still long.
All right.
So I had like a
Surprised you
mullet.
changed your hair after that.
No, I mean at the time it was getting like stupid.
Oh, yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was getting really stupid. Anyway,
I think we're gonna be wrapping up pretty soon. You have anything you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I don't
One
know.
more story or
Don't give up on your
no,
dreams.
no. We're not. I mean, like, I don't know. Just talk about something like. What was I? Like I always say, like I've been listening to like other music. Like what have you been listening to, Matt, recently? Like
Let me look.
what are you
that, or like
listening
what have you been
to?
watching? Movies that like anything like.
I mean, fuck, man.
I threw on Catching Fire again last night. I was in my teenage years. I was like, I need something to watch that I know like the back of my hand because I loved The Hunger Games when I was a kid.
I
Loved it.
recently got back into Dragon Ball
Dragon Ball's good.
because Akira Toriyama passed away a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And I
RIP.
watched both the Dragon Ball Super movies, and why were they good? They were really good movies. I was expecting them to be kind of shitty.
Yeah, well, I gotta watch
honestly.
them.
Yeah, they're really, really well done. And I've been doing a. Did I ever tell you what I've been doing to like make myself listen to music?
No.
So I have a quarter in my car.
Okay.
I
And
see.
every time I get into the car, I will flip the quarter. If it lands on heads, I will listen to an album I've already listened to.
Okay.
If it lands on tails, I have a list of albums that I need to listen to. I'll just go on to one of those randomly. And that's been forcing me to re-listen to old shit and listen to new shit. It's great.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's like, it's helping my repertoire, I guess. a
Where'd you
lot.
get that idea about the coin flip?
I just came up with it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was like, how can I decide this pretty easily? Oh, coins.
And then me and Matt have this thing too, because we're best friends and we'll listen to a lot of music together. We've discovered a lot together since we first met. And one of the things that we like to do is a playlist, kind of like yours. You have a set playlist of like albums you need to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
We have one for ourselves together. We'll listen to called Happy Hour. We call it Matt and Julian's Happy Hour. It's just some bullshit thing we came up with, but it has albums that I've listened to that I want him to listen to, and
I
albums
see.
that he listens to that he wants me to listen to, or albums we both know we need to,
Okay.
or have already or want to revisit.
Or one where I go to Cactus Music and I see a vinyl that looks cool on the album art. I'll listen to like 2 seconds of a song to see if it's not bedroom pop, and then we'll listen to it.
And then like we won't even flip a coin.
In the dead of night, heavy heart content, keeping status quo, cousins of death in the day again.